we'll begin now. अब ये चीज ध्यान रखिएगा, क्लास जो है बहुत बेसिक रहेगी, क्योंकि जब तक बेसिक नहीं हम लोगों को समझ में आएगा तब तक हम कोई हाई लेवल नहीं कर सकते हैं। एंड आपको मैं एक चीज से बिगिन कर देता हूं, कितना पॉलिटी कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है सिविल सर्विस प्रिपरेशन के लिए। अगर आपको डॉक्टर बनना है, इफ यू वांट टू बिकम मेडिकल प्रैक्टिशनर, आपको कौन सा सब्जेक्ट सबसे जरूरी है पढ़ना? बायोलॉजी। इट्स वेरी सिंपल, क्या विदाउट बायोलॉजी यू कैन बिकम अ गुड डॉक्टर? इन जनरल यू नीड टू बिकम you need to be a biology student to understand medical system, ठीक है? पॉलिटी जैसे डॉक्टर बनने के लिए बायोलॉजी इज इंपॉर्टेंट, इसी तरीके से टू बिकम अ सिविल सर्वेंट योर नॉलेज ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बिकॉज द रोल ऑफ अ सिविल सर्वेंट इज टू implement the laws or the policies that have been prepared by the governance system, that is the elected government. तो आपका पर्पस है उसको एग्जीक्यूट करना, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इन ऑर्डर टू बिकम अ गुड सिविल सर्वेंट, पॉलिटी इज योर बेस. Whatever we'll be reading, it will be the most important thing that will be there in your preparation. And there is no civil servant जिन्होंने पॉलिटी में वीक होने के बाद पेपर क्लियर कर लिया हो, ठीक है? Be very very clear, in order to clear this examination you should be very good in polity, not average. You should be very good in polity. बस ये चीज ध्यान रखना है, यू बी रेगुलर इन द क्लासेस, ठीक है? यू बी रेगुलर इन द क्लासेस और यू वॉच द वीडियोस रेगुलरली, दैट विल बी अपडेटेड. अदरवाइज देयर इज नो पॉइंट. अगर आपने एक भी क्लास मिस की या एक भी वीडियो मिस करी, देन यू विल लूज द पेस, एंड देन आपको ये लगेगा कि कौन सी टॉपिक हम पढ़ रहे हैं, आप शायद टॉपिक भी भूल जाए कौन सा हम पढ़. इज इट क्लियर? तो दिस इज ओनली what I expect from you. Plus I expect you to remember two English words, ठीक है? Two English words, one is trust and other is patience. बस ये दो words याद रखें. Trust me that we will be covering most of the topics that are important, and have patience. अगर आप आज ही क्लास में बोले कि हमें हाई कोर्ट तो पढ़ाया नहीं, ठीक है? तो for that you need to be patient. So whatever we will be doing, we will be only focusing on these two words. Okay? Now we will begin our today's lecture. Our today's lecture will be an introductory lecture. Okay? It will be an introductory lecture on through which we will just try to identify that how we'll be approaching in this topic. क्योंकि अगर पहले दिन ही बहुत हेवी हो जाएगा, कल से आप लोग आओगे नहीं. Are the slides visible? Are the slides visible? Okay. ओके चलिए, थैंक यू वेरी मच. एंड जस्ट अब तैयार हो जाइए, सीट बेल्ट बांध लीजिए, अब हम एंटर कर रहे हैं इंडियन पॉलिटी में. These things will be doing जो आप शायद आपने नोटिस नहीं किया होगा, whatever is there on the screen ध्यान से देखिएगा, उसी में से क्वेश्चन सॉल्व होंगे. Okay, whatever is there on the screen. पहली चीज, look at the holy document. This is the document, this is the holy book for us who are preparing for civil services. जैसे हर रिलीजन के लिए एक रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट होता है, यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए ये रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट है. हर रोज सुबह जैसे हम ऊपर वाले का नाम लेते हैं, ऐसे ही अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का नाम लेंगे और आगे बढ़ेंगे. Because this is the only document because of which we are preparing for the civil services. This document provides us to have services which are merit based. Is it clear? So this is the most respectful document in our country, and we will respect it as we respect our religious books. Okay? तो ये चीज हम लोगों को ध्यान रखनी है. Before beginning, we must look at the syllabus of prelims, because most of the times what we do, we start preparing but we don't look at the syllabus. तो हम begin कर रहे हैं syllabus के through, and when we look at the syllabus, make sure you focus upon each and every word. UPSC is the only examination in this country that asks the questions particularly from the syllabus. UPSC ने जो syllabus दिया है, questions most of the time उसी syllabus के अंदर से आते हैं. इसको आप misconception है जो आपको बताया गया है that UPSC can ask anything that exists under the sun. ऐसा नहीं है. UPSC syllabus से ही question पूछेगा. अब let us see what is there. The Constitution of India. So the questions from the Constitution of India will be there in the prelims paper. Then they will ask about the political system. There are different political systems that are there in the world and that are there in the country, and UPSC wants you to know the basics about those political systems. For example, UPSC wants you to know कि democratic system क्या होता है democratic system, monarchy क्या होता है. UPSC wants you to know elections क्यों इतने important है, कैसे इलेक्शंस होते हैं. तो दिस इज हाउ यूपीएससी विल फ्रेम इट्स क्वेश्चंस. देन थर्ड टॉपिक इज पंचायती राज. अब आप नोटिस कीजिए दैट ओनली टर्म्स आर गिवन. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के अंदर यू विल बी रीडिंग अबाउट पंचायती राज, but still UPSC has used the word Panchayati Raj differently in the syllabus. इससे हम लोग क्या समझे? That definitely every year one question or two questions will be there from Panchayati Raj. Question आएगा ही आएगा. Okay? तो Panchayati Raj is very very important. Then public policies. आप कहते हैं ना UPSC में पेपर में गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स आती हैं. We read government schemes. अब कहीं तो लिखा नहीं है सिलेबस में गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स. गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स तो मेंस के पेपर 2 के सिलेबस में लिखा हुआ है एज अ पार्ट ऑफ सोशल जस्टिस. So why they are asking in prelims? They are asking in prelims not because they are current issues. They are asking in prelims because public policies are there in our examinations. Let us take the example of MSP, minimum support price. Minimum support price UPSC has asked n number of times कि ग्रेन्स का एमएसपी कौन डिसाइड करता है, शुगर केन के एमएसपी को क्या बोला जाता है, हु विल डिसाइड दैट एमएसपी. अब ये करंट में है, रहते हैं हर साल, लेकिन यूपीएससी आस्क्ड देम बिकॉज दे आर द पार्ट ऑफ पब्लिक पॉलिसी. जैसे कि एट प्रेजेंट आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम, एट प्रेजेंट प्रधानमंत्री कृषि सिंचाई योजना, वो पब्लिक को कैसे इंपैक्ट कर रही है, ये हम लोगों को फोकस करना. ओके, नेक्स्ट टॉपिक दैट वी हैव इन आवर सिलेबस is rights issues. So in the paper, it has been explicitly mentioned that the questions from rights will be there. Fundamental rights से questions are always there. आप लोगों ने notice किया होगा, if you have gone through previous year papers, every year there are questions from fundamental rights. You must have noticed that every year there are questions from the rights which are not there in the constitution, but the rights which are important for us. For example, the rights like RTI, that is important. The Manrega schemes, it is important because it is specifically given in the syllabus. Are we clear with the syllabus? Do you have any doubt regarding the syllabus? I hope you don't have any doubt, because before going through anything, शादी करने से पहले कुंडली मिलानी जरूरी है. तो देख लो आपके कितने गुण मिल रहे हैं, पहली चेक कर लो कि बिफोर बिगिनिंग. क्योंकि अभी आपको क्या लगता है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पढ़ने के लिए हम कुछ भी पढ़ सकते हैं, and tomorrow you will come and ask me that you did not teach us about the constitutional debates, because in the paper constitutional debates is not in the syllabus. That is why we will not be discussing that. Okay, shall we continue? Very good. And we'll be keeping our classes slow. We'll be keeping our classes slow so that we cater your doubts, genuine doubts. Okay, genuine doubts. ऐसे doubts नहीं कि आप दोपहर में क्या खाया, कि आपको नींद नहीं आ रही है. We'll not be catering such doubts. Only genuine doubts. Okay. Now look at this graph. So these are the questions that have been asked from polity in the previous years. In 2019 there were 13 questions. 2018 there were 13 questions. 2017 23 questions. It means if you are good in polity, you can score 46 marks. उसके अलावा आधी तो रेस खत्म होगी ना, क्योंकि कट ऑफ was how much? Approximately 105 was the cutoff. So in 2016, only 7 questions. Otherwise, on an average, 14 to 15 questions are coming from polity. 14 to 15 questions means that out of 100 questions, most of the questions from basics are coming from polity. Is it clear? So, इसलिए हमेशा whenever you are preparing, start your preparation with Indian polity. And if you feel that I am not interested in polity, the result is in front of your screen. कि अगर आपको इंटरेस्ट नहीं आ रहा है तो इतने मार्क्स विल बी लूजिंग. एंड आई गारंटी यू दैट इफ यू गो थ्रू आवर क्लासेस, अमंग दैट 90% ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस यू विल बी एबल टू अटेम्प्ट. नहीं, अटेम्प्ट तो आप खैर 100% कर लोगे, यू विल बी एबल टू डू देम करेक्ट. ठीक है, 90% ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस यू विल बी एबल टू डू देम करेक्ट. 100% तो शायद खुद जो है कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मेकर्स आ जाए तो शायद वो भी ना कर पाए, बिकॉज यूपीएससी विल नॉट मेक पेपर इन सच अ मैनर that 100% questions from a topic will be there. 90% we can do, 100% के पीछे नहीं भागना किसी भी टॉपिक में. Is it clear? तो ये देख लीजिए आप कि कितने क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, so that we begin with our topic. अब देखिए, लुक एट दिस इमेज, लुक एट दिस इमेज, इसमें दिया गया लिव्याथन। लिव्याथन मतलब गवर्नमेंट को इन्होंने एक कंपेयर करा है एक ऐसी बॉडी से। दो लिव्याथन का आइडिया पहले से दिया गया था हॉब्स के थ्रू कि एक मॉन्स्टर है, लेकिन अब वो इन दी प्रेजेंट टाइम्स लिव्याथन अभी गवर्नेंस सिस्टम का पार्ट बन गया। एंड इन्होंने इन द इमेज दे हैव शोन दैट अ बॉडी दैट इज हैविंग पावर, through these weapons power is represented. So we need to understand what is polity, because our syllabus is Indian polity and governance. तो हमें हमेशा बेसिक पे चलना है, बिकॉज कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पूरा पता है एंड यूपीएससी ने अगर क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया विच आर द फॉलोइंग इज ट्रू रिगार्डिंग पॉलिटी, तो हम लोग तो फंस जाएंगे। तो इसीलिए वी नीड टू नो द नेम ऑफ द टॉपिक ऑल्सो। सो लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज पॉलिटी, and whatever is there on the screen I'll be reading that, so that our candidates who are not able to hear, they can also understand, and the visually impaired candidates, they are also included in our classes. Okay, so a polity is an identifiable political entity. It is an identifiable political entity, any group of people who have collective identity. So it is an entity that you can identify. It will always be visible. It is an identity that you can identify of a people who are having collective identity. मतलब a group who can relate themselves with one thing. It may be a group of people who can identify themselves through a sports. It may be a group of people who can identify themselves through a country in which they are living. A group of people who can identify themselves through a religion. That can be a part of polity, who are organized in some form of institutionalized social relations. It means a group of people who can identify themselves and they are organized and they have capacity to mobilize resources. यानी कि सिर्फ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल जिनके पास पावर है, यू कैन नॉट कॉल इट एज अ पॉलिटी। उनके पास पावर ये भी होनी चाहिए दैट दे कैन मोबिलाइज रिसोर्सेज, अदरवाइज विदाउट फाइनेंसेस उस पॉलिटी को सर्वाइव नहीं कराया जा सकता। समझ में आया है? एक ग्रुप, लोगों का ग्रुप जो आपको पता है कि किसी एक चीज में कलेक्टिव है, वो कलेक्टिव है और उन्होंने अपने आप को इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज किया गया है। दे हैव इंस्टीट्यूशनलाइज्ड देमसेल्फ एंड दे हैव अ कैपेसिटी कि उस इंस्टीट्यूशन को लोग पैसा देंगे। सबसे सिंपल एग्जांपल है आपकी रेजिडेंशियल वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन। एक ग्रुप है, किसका ग्रुप है? रेजिडेंट्स जो है उनका ग्रुप है। उन ग्रुप में कलेक्टिव आइडेंटिटी क्या है? दैट दे आर पार्ट ऑफ दैट कॉलोनी। ये कलेक्टिव आइडेंटिटी है। अब उन्होंने एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बना ली दैट इज कॉल्ड एज रेजिडेंट वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन, और उसको आप लोग क्या करते हैं? मेंटेनेंस का पैसा देते हैं। क्या वो आरडब्ल्यूए सर्वाइव कर सकती है बिना रिसोर्सेज के? नहीं कर सकती। सो पॉलिटी में रिसोर्सेज का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल होता है, and that is why the questions every year they are coming from the financial relations. आपने नोटिस किया होगा हमेशा फाइनेंशियल रिलेशंस बिटवीन द सेंटर एंड स्टेट। कर दो, तबाह कर दो, स्लाइड को तबाह कर दो बिल्कुल, ठीक है, मार्क कर करके। कौन है? हाँ गुड, ऐसा मत करो, सबके लिए है। आई नो कि जैसे समथिंग विच इज फ्री इट इज नो वंस रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, आई नो इट इज ह्यूमन नेचर, लेकिन डू नॉट एक्ट इन सच अ मैनर। So do you understand what does polity mean? It is very simple. Now another thing that you need to understand is what is governance, because our syllabus is saying polity and governance. Our syllabus is saying polity and governance, and we need to understand what does governance mean. So can is this image visible to you? तो इस image में आप देख के समझिए that governance includes legislation that will be formed by a institution, that is the institution of parliament in our country. At the same time, this legislation will form policies. These policies will form strategies to finance and to execute, and उसके लिए quality assurance. अब अगर वो गवर्नेंस किसी और सिस्टम से फॉर्म होता है तो ये सब चीजों के नेम बदल जाते हैं। यहां इसको हम बोलेंगे पार्लियामेंट, लेजिस्लेशन को बोलेंगे पार्लियामेंट, इसको बोलेंगे जो एग्जीक्यूटिव है मिनिस्टर्स, स्ट्रैटेजी क्या होगा, पॉलिसी मेकिंग, फाइनेंसिस क्या होगा, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन क्या होगा, सिविल सर्वेंट्स, एंड क्वालिटी अश्योरेंस इज आर अकाउंटेबिलिटी। ये बस नाम चेंज हो जाता है। तो व्हाट इज गवर्नेंस? So governance has been defined to refer to structure and processes. अब this is the definition that UNESCO has provided. ठीक है? So this is the definition that UNESCO has provided. It means this definition is applicable in the whole world. तो ये general definition है. So UPSC might ask questions from this. Because UPSC in the present years, they are asking questions from liberty or certain basic concepts. So governance भी question आ सकता है. So governance has been defined to refer to the structures and processes that are designed to ensure, those structures and processes that are designed to ensure accountability, transparency, responsiveness, rule of law, stability, equity and inclusiveness, empowerment and broad-based participation. बहुत सारी इंग्लिश हो गई है, अब सिंप्लीफाई करके समझते हैं। वो सिस्टम, पॉलिटी जो हमने ग्रुप बना दिया, अब वो पॉलिटी बनाई क्यों हमने? वो पॉलिटी क्या करेगी? वो पॉलिटी क्या करेगी? तो क्वालिटी का क्या काम है भैया? अकाउंटेबल है, जो आपको काम बोला है वो कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं, ये आइडेंटिफाई करना है। ट्रांसपेरेंट है ना, कि अगर आपने उनको 10 किलो चावल दिए बांटने के लिए तो आपके सामने ही बांट रहे हैं, ये नहीं बोल रहे हाँ हम बांटाएं, दैट इज ट्रांसपेरेंसी। रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस, आपने बोला कि जो है हमारी कंट्री में इलेक्ट्रिक या हमारे एरिया में लाइट नहीं आ रही है, तो हाउ इमीडिएटली दे आर रिस्पॉन्डिंग टुवर्ड्स इट, दैट इज रिस्पॉन्सिवनेस। देन रूल ऑफ लॉ, मीन्स एक लॉ फ्रेम हुआ है, क्या उनके बेसिस पे सब कुछ फंक्शनल है कि नहीं, दैट इज रूल ऑफ लॉ। स्टेबिलिटी कितनी है, मतलब कल तो काम कराया, आज कराएंगे कि नहीं कराएंगे, या कल रहेंगे कि नहीं रहेंगे, ये भी इंपॉर्टेंट है गवर्नेंस में। इक्विटी एंड इंक्लूसिवनेस, सबका काम हो रहा है, कुछ लिमिटेड का हो रहा है, सबके लिए हो रहा है, या कुछ सेक्शन को एक्सक्लूड कर दिया गया है, ये भी फोकस करना है। एम्पावर करना है, इट मींस आपको सिर्फ चीजें नहीं देनी है, उन चीजों को अर्न करने की कैपेसिटी भी प्रोवाइड करनी है। एंड दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग यू ब्रॉड बेस्ड पार्टिसिपेशन, इट मींस ये सब कैसे करना है वो आपसे भी पूछ रहे हैं, दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ गवर्नेंस। अब ये गवर्नेंस करता कौन है? ये गवर्नेंस करता कौन है? ठीक है, अगर इसको सिंपली आइडेंटिफाई करा जाए कि गवर्नेंस कौन प्रोवाइड कर रहा है, तो उसको बोलेंगे गवर्नमेंट। ये सब, ये जो हमारा नेशनल एम्बलम है, इसी की इच्छा है सबको अचीव करने की। तो इसका मतलब हम कहां से धीरे धीरे आ रहे हैं? पॉलिटी क्या स्टेट हुई? द स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया। पॉलिटी हमने एस्टैब्लिश करी, द स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया। उस स्टेट ऑफ इंडिया में क्या प्रोवाइड करनी है? गवर्नेंस। गवर्नेंस कैसे प्रोवाइड करनी है? वो जो 8 फैक्टर्स आपको बताए हैं उसके थ्रू। वो प्रोवाइड कौन करेगा? एक मशीनरी है, देयर हैज टू बी अ मशीनरी फॉर दैट, दैट मशीनरी इज कॉल्ड एज गवर्नमेंट, that is the machinery. So government is nothing but a machinery that provides for the governance in the polity. बस ये काम होता है गवर्नमेंट का, a machinery that provides governance in the polity, that is the meaning of government. अब definition यूनेस्को की देखते हैं। तो government is a group of people who, it is a group of people who rule or run the administration of a country, group of people who rule or run the administration of a country. It may be said that government is the body of representatives. It means a democracy, representative democracy that governs and controls the state in a given time. It means government जो है perpetual नहीं होती है, गवर्नमेंट परपेचुअल नहीं होती। अगर वो परपेचुअल हो तो उसको मोनार्की बोल दिया जाता है, तो उसको मोनार्की बोल दिया जाता है। ठीक है, मतलब स्क्रीन पे मार्क क्या करना है तुम लोगों को, ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा। जो भी कर रहा है प्लीज मत करिए, रिक्वेस्ट है आपसे। ठीक है, तो the government is a body that will be representing people. It is a medium through which the power of the state is employed. I already told you, polity is the state, governance उसका काम है, कौन कर रहा है? गवर्नमेंट। तो एक मीडियम है जिसके थ्रू पॉलिटी में अपना काम हो रहा है, दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ गवर्नमेंट। इसको आप समझिए कि देयर कैन बी डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ गवर्नमेंट, वन आइदर कैन बी अ डेमोक्रेसी और ऑटोक्रेसी, बट as we are in a democratic country, हम ये मान के चलते हैं that in the modern times democracy is the best form of government and we are only considering the democratic government in our whole study. ठीक है, तो जब भी हम ये सब्जेक्ट पढ़ेंगे, आप ये मत समझिएगा कि नॉर्थ कोरिया में तो ऐसा होता है, हमारे यहाँ ऐसा क्यों नहीं होता है. Why? Because we are reading Indian polity and government. Is it clear? So, a democratic government, there is a definition of democratic government. It is defined as a system. It is defined as a system which the public, which has the public mandate to run the affairs of the country with a well-defined term. Okay? So it is having a public mandate, it is having a term, and people, they get elected. A government can be labeled as good or bad on the basis of the way it is doing its governance. And if they are doing good, then they will come back to power. Otherwise, there will be a new form of government. That is the meaning of government. Are we having any doubt till now? Are we having any doubt till now? Now the question is, what is a constitution? We have read so many things about the Constitution of India. We have studied about the features of the Constitution of India, but we do not know what exactly is the definition of a constitution. So the constitution means the basic principles and laws of a nation or a state or a social group. The basic principles, it is a law book. Very good. Very good. So these are the basic principles that determine the powers and duties of government and guarantee certain rights to the people. ठीक है. अब law तो कुछ भी हो सकते हैं, family laws भी होते हैं ना, but we do not call our family laws as constitution. Family laws भी होते हैं, family law book भी होती है, religious law book भी होती है, but we do not call our religious law books as constitutions. It means it is something more than a law book. Otherwise किसी भी law book को हम बोल सकते हैं कि constitution पढ़ लेते हैं. So let us understand what it exactly talks about. It provides legitimacy to laws. That's what I'm saying. Law के ऊपर है, word law नहीं है इसमें. In the definition इसमें बताया ये भी कुछ principle का part है, कुछ laws का part है, लेकिन ये नहीं बोला that this is a law book. It is a basic system that determine कि किसे कितनी power देनी है and आप किसकी कितनी power ले सकते हो. These two things are determined in that textbook, and if it is determined in that textbook, that will be called as the constitution. मतलब गवर्नमेंट को कितनी पावर देनी है and लोगों को कितने rights देने हैं. If these two things are provided in that text, that will be called as a constitution. Is it clear? That is why whenever you hear the term constitutional government, whenever you hear the term constitutional government, then there at that time it is automatically provided. Okay, so we have understood the definition of the constitution. Now we need to understand what is the Constitution of India. Okay, you look at the images. Every image is providing you some additional input. Jaise, look at this previous image. So we are looking at two constitutions. So the definition of the constitution that I have provided, that is applicable to the definition of Constitution of India also, and that is applicable to the definition of Constitution of United States of America. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि दोनों कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन की डेफिनेशन अलग अलग होगी, लेकिन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया की डेफिनेशन अलग होगी from the Constitution of the United States of America. So look at the definition of Constitution of India. So the Constitution of India is the supreme law of India. So the Constitution of India is the supreme law of India, or if you need to know the word, that is also called as the most fundamental law of this country. So it is the supreme law, or it is the most fundamental law of this country, which lays down the framework demarcating. This lays down the framework. मतलब इसी टेक्स्ट में, इसी लॉ में प्रोवाइड किया गया है कि व्हाट विल बी द पॉलिटिकल कोड ऑफ आवर कंट्री. उस पॉलिटिकल कोड का स्ट्रक्चर क्या होगा, व्हाट प्रोसीजर्स विल बी अंडरटेकिंग टू एस्टैब्लिश दैट स्ट्रक्चर, what will be the duties of the government institutions, what will be the fundamental rights, directive principles and duties of the citizens. It means इन सब में प्रोवाइड किया गया है how that country will be governed. अब आप समझ में आ रहा है आपको how Constitution of India is an elaborative term than the Constitution of or then the word constitution. So difference क्या है कि constitution में fundamental procedures provide किए गए हैं, Indian constitution में fundamental procedures को detail में provide किया गया है, where fundamental rights and directive principles both are provided, where the electoral system through the procedure has been provided and the duties are also provided. This is the meaning of the Constitution of India. Now, I hope you are in a position to tell what is the meaning of the Constitution of India. Is it clear? Now, if someone asks you what is the symbol of the Constituent Assembly, please give me the answer. What is the symbol of Constituent Assembly? With which animal the Constituent Assembly was identified? Give me the answer. With which animal or symbol Constituent Assembly was identified? Very good. Oh my God. आप लोगों को सबको कैसे पता है? How all do you know? How old do you know? Very good. That is why I am saying something that you will never read, you will just look at it and you will always remember. अब मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि कभी भी आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है इन फ्यूचर, you will never forget that what was the symbol of the Constituent Assembly. Is it clear? This is how we will be approaching for our classes. कुछ चीजें हम बताएंगे नहीं लेकिन आपको याद रह जाएंगी. Is it clear? चले आगे. Very good. चलिए. अब बैकग्राउंड देखते हैं कि क्या है कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली. कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन जो हमारा तैयार हुआ है वो किस बेसिस पे रेडी हुआ था. व्हाट वर द आइडियाज दैट लेड टू द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया. सो द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकिंग प्रोसेस was organized around the deliberation of Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly members were elected on the basis of a limited franchise. फ्रेंचाइज का मतलब होता है कि किस बेसिस पे कौन कौन वोट करेगा. तो वोटिंग सिस्टम वाज लिमिटेड and constitution was to be created through a constituent assembly, जिसका symbol you can see on your screen. This is the symbol of our honorable constituent assembly. The cabinet mission plan. So a question may come on the basis of which plan or scheme constituent assembly was established. The option may be August Offer, Cripps mission, cabinet mission plan, or the Government of India Act 1935. So the answer to the question is very, very clear. Cabinet mission plan, which set up the Constituent Assembly of India. It disregarded or discarded this idea of universal adult franchise. It means those who are 18 and above, they were to vote in the elections, but cabinet mission ने बोला कि ऐसा नहीं होगा. Rather, Constituent Assembly के members indirectly elect होंगे from the members of the Provincial Legislative Assembly. इसको और सिंप्लीफाई करके आपको बताते हैं. मान लीजिए इन इंडिया इन द प्रेजेंट टाइम्स अ न्यू कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली इज टू बी एस्टैब्लिश्ड. तो हम लोग जैसे लोकसभा में वोट करते हैं वो नहीं करेंगे. वी विल बी वोटिंग दैट वी हैव ऑलरेडी वोटेड फॉर द मेंबर्स इन लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली. उस लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली से मेंबर चूज होके आएंगे जैसे राज्यसभा में आते हैं. यही सिस्टम था कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली के मेंबर चूज करने. ये था आपके प्रोविंसेस में. प्रिंसली स्टेट्स में नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर होते थे, प्रिंसेस नॉमिनेट करते थे. ठीक है. सो addition to the provincial legislative assembly, the princely states and chief commissioner provinces, they had their members nominated. After the partition, the princely states and the provinces, they got divided, and the number of seats in the Constituent Assembly, they were down to 299. You do not need to remember the number of members in the Constituent Assembly, because that would be a very factual question, and UPSC do not want you to remember all the facts, because you have a limited capacity to remember. Just concept समझिए. तो ऊपर जो हमने अंडरलाइन किया है या फिर बोल्ड किया है, that may come as a question. Now, who was the chairman of Constituent Assembly? Give me your answers. Who was the chairman of Constituent Assembly? Give me your answers. क्योंकि लिखा था ना कि इंटरेक्टिव सेशन होगा. आंसर दीजिए. Who were the members of Constituent Assembly? Who was the chairman of Constituent Assembly? Very good. तो ये आपको कैसे पता? क्योंकि हमने स्क्रीन पे लिखा हुआ है. Otherwise, we generally what we remember? Dr. Ambedkar. We remember Dr. Ambedkar as the chairman of Constituent Assembly. But this is not the correct answer. Why? You will know after this slide. So what happens next will blow your mind. Okay? So this will be the idea. Very good. So now you remember through this slide what all questions you know now. How the members of Constituent Assembly were elected, you know the answer to that. Through which policy or plan Constituent Assembly came into force, you know that. who was the chairman of the Constituent Assembly, you know that, and how the members of Constituent Assembly were elected, you know. तो ये सब चीजें आपको इस स्लाइड से समझना। अब for the first time, the idea of Constituent Assembly was provided by M.N. Roy. ठीक है, तो M.N. Roy for the first time proposed that there should be an assembly which will be establishing or providing us a constitution of the country. So it was first suggested by M.N. Roy. He was also the pioneer or the founder of Communist Party of India. He was a part of Radical Democracy. That is not important from the prelims point of view. लेकिन as UPSC is asking the personality, so the question may come. इसीलिए ये थोड़ा सा हमने डिटेल इंक्लूड की है। The first official demand for the constitution came by Indian National Congress in 1935. ठीक है, in 1935. Finally, the demand of C. Rajagopalachari in 1939 was accepted by the British. ठीक है, was accepted by the British, and the British initially accepted that the Constituent Assembly will be elected on the basis of universal adult franchise. ठीक है, तो initially it was to be elected on the basis of adult franchise, which later on changed through which mission? Cabinet mission, which later on changed through cabinet mission, and how? Through the indirect election by the members of provincial legislative assembly. Is it clear? Now, the major chunk of the deliberations, they were by the drafting committee. Okay, drafting committee becomes very, very important. The members of Constituent Assembly, they used to propose the changes or the draft which was debated. Then later on it was passed through a majority vote. So whatever was happening in the Constituent Assembly, it was through a voting system. Now you know this also, that the decisions in the Constituent Assembly were taken through a majority vote. The decisions were taken through a majority vote. This also you need to remember. Now, the Constituent Assembly sat for the first time on 9th December 1946. ये डेट याद रख लीजिए, एक तरीके से याद रखो, वो जो दिन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है ना, जिस दिन तुमने उन्हें पहली बार देखा, तुमने सपना सजाया, ठीक है, बस ऐसे ही आपके लिए याद रखने का दिन है that 9th December 1946 was the day on which the Constituent Assembly sat for the first time. And after continuous deliberation for a period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, we got a framed constitution of India. The year or the number of days and years and months, not that important, but as we we consider this book as very, very important for us, so we remember the time period also. Now, how many sittings were there? This you must also know. So there were 11 sessions. There were 11 sessions in the Constituent Assembly, and total sessions they took place for 165 days. अब जैसे ये था ना 2014 से 19 तक गवर्नमेंट was elected, but ऐसा नहीं है कि हमेशा सेशन चल रहे हैं. Similarly, the Constituent Assembly was there from 9 December 1946 till, डेट बताइए कब तक थी Constituent Assembly? Give me the answer. Give me the answer. From 9 December 1946 till which date? Give me the answer. 26 November. Very good. Very good. 26 November 1949. So this means our constitution was prepared within the period of 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. And finally, the constitution was complete on 26th November 1949. However, the constitution was finally adopted or it was enforced on 26 January 1950, which we celebrate as a Republic Day. Okay. Now, there are certain important committees of the Constitution that you must know. So, the Constitution Assembly appointed 22 committees. So, in total, question may come that there were total how many committees? So, there were a total of 22 committees, and among those 22 committees, 8 were major committees and rest were minor committees. अब ये मत पूछना rest, CSET हमारे सिलेबस में है, तो 22 minus 8 शाबाश सब करके दिखाएंगे और उसका आंसर निकलेगा क्या? 16. So, do not answer me how many minor committees were there. Clear? So there were 16 minor committees. Who was the constitutional or who was the advisor of the Constituent Assembly? Give me the answer. The answer is Justice B.N. Rao. This is also very important. We sometimes also call Sir B.N. Rao. Okay? So Sir B.N. Rao was the constitutional advisor, and he was given the responsibility to provide for the final draft of the constitution. Clear? Now just remember the names of the major committees जो इस slide पे हैं. These are most important. Whatever the committees are there on this slide, the name of the committee and their members is most important. Chairman of drafting committee was Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Union Power Committee was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. Union Constitution Committee was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And Provincial Constitution Committee was headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So drafting committee, Dr. Ambedkar. Union Power Committee, Pandit Nehru. Union Constitution Committee, Pandit Nehru. And Provincial Constitution Committee, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. These four committees you need to remember. Now, एक बहुत important question है, that will be a very tough question, but we are covering that. That was there any committee that had subcommittees in the Constituent Assembly? Or question may come, which committee had subcommittees in the Constituent Assembly? So anyone who can give this answer, which committee had subcommittees in the Constituent Assembly? Anyone who consider themselves very good in polity, please give the answer. Amit committee of, or the name of the committee of the Constitution that had its subcommittees also. So a tough question हुआ. सब क्वेश्चन का आंसर है ये. Advisory committee on advisory committee. Very good. So advisory committee on fundamental rights, minority and tribal excluded areas. ये याद रखिएगा बहुत अच्छे से. Advisory committee had subcommittees also. So advisory committee on fundamental rights, minority, tribal and excluded areas, headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, had these subcommittees. These committees were fundamental rights by Acharya J.B. Kripalani, minority subcommittee by Harendra Kumar Mukherjee, that is H.C. Mukherjee. Northeast frontier tribal areas and Assam excluded and partially excluded areas, subcommittee by Gopinath Barduloi, and excluded and partially excluded areas other than those in Assam by A.V. Thakkar. So all these things you need not remember, but just remember it is advisory committee headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. And rest there are certain other committees. Rules of Procedure Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. States Committee. Question, this has come in UPSC. So State Committee was headed by Pandit Nehru. Steering Committee by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. National Ad Hoc Committee, Dr. Rajendra Prasad. Committee for the Function of the Constituent Assembly. So Committee for the Function of the Constituent Assembly was by G.B. Mavlankar. Why? Because he was also the Speaker of the Parliament at that time. Then House Committee by Pittabi Sitaramaiah. Language Committee by M. Satyanarayan. Order of Business Committee by Dr. K.M. Munshi. So these were the committees that were important from the point of view of the Constituent Assembly. So this is what we need to know in the background of the Constitution. This is the only basic background of the Constitution. We have not started our Constitution preparation yet, but this is what we need to know before beginning. तो थोड़ा माहौल बनाया हमने आगे क्लास के लिए, थोड़ा माहौल बना है. If you have any doubt, please let me know. Take good care of yourself. Bye. Thank you, Vishal sir, for joining.
Thank you, Nitish sir, for the really engaging class.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.